Hello, you are back with Mike at Workflow. If you would like to contact us, our email is workflowinfo@pm.me. That's workflow, FLOWINFO, at pm.me. If you'd like to contact us about work, that is, or some of your products that we are using, or questions or comments, concerns, what have you. We are at the stage where we have prepped these cabinets. Like I said previously, we added the crown molding, wood primed crown molding on here. Well, some of it was primed, some of it was raw wood. And we added a plate on the top of this. So at the back, I installed a runner piece at the back. So when you set the plate on there, it would be flush. And so the whole top of these cabinets can now be used for storage. Which I highly recommend you do in a house like this. Previously, there was no crown molding up here. We used to just put things up here, and you'd have to drag them off. They'd kind of sit down in up there. You know, had like a little recess or whatever. Now it's nice and flat, and you can just put your stuff, your paper tiles and what have you up there. A lot of these houses, these cookie cutter townhouses, don't have a whole lot of storage in them. So you got to do what you got to do. What I found out is that in these basic cabinets that come in these types of houses, that this sideboard of the cabinets is plywood, but what they do, it's not laminated hardwood. It's not laminated oak. It's a paper, like basically wallpaper is what it is, that they've printed and glued on there. So just don't go ham on sanding it when you're doing it. Just rough it up just a little bit, and cross your fingers and hope that the primer and all that stuff will stick to it decent enough to get you a nice finish on there. I think it'll be fine. The front facings of the cabinets are more important. The front facings of these cabinets are all oak. They had a polyurethane finish on it that has to be scuffed, or i.e. sanded. And I used 80 grit to sand it because 80 grit it removes it fast enough, and it doesn't leave. It was a nice medium between removing it quickly and not leaving a bad something that needed to be went over again with like a 120 grit or 220 grit. Or 150 grit maybe. You don't want to use like a 220 grit to remove that polyurethane. Will be there forever. You need to use something aggressive, not too aggressive. Don't use like a 60 unless you want to go over it again with a 120. But I'm flipping this property, so I'm not really putting a whole lot of effort into. I'm trying to minimize the amount of effort I'm putting into it, right, to give a good look and a good finish. And I found that 80 grit was perfect. So, and then I went over, I used a foam roller here. Use a foam roller. This gives the best finish I've found so far versus like the other like furry looking rollers. This one here, the foam roller is best, I think, for cabinets. And what we use for a primer, we use Bare Kitchen Bath and Trim Stain Blocking Primer and Sealer for adhesion to glossy surfaces and dramatic color change. It says wall, trim, cabinet, door, and it's water-based. This stuff worked really well. It's water-based, and I went along here after the primer dried. So let's follow the instructions. So prep. All surfaces should be properly prepared and cleaned. Remove loose paint, wash off chalk, dirt, grease with detergent, rinse and allow to dry. Remove mildew stains with mildew stain removal product. Scuff, sand, glossy surfaces and prepare imperfections. Remove all dust with a damp cloth, allow to dry. Alright, so that's what we did. So first stage was we removed all the doors off of here and all the hardware. So I will say this: I didn't remove all the drawers out, because if I wanted to paint inside this little lip here for the drawers, I would have to pull the drawer out and pull the hardware out to paint that. I'm just not doing all that because honestly, I don't think it's going to make a hill of beans difference on how the finished product's going to look. Right, with the doors, it's easy to do. Plus, when you open the doors a lot and you look at this surface here, so this needs to be painted. This inside piece here, you need to paint that. Can you get away with painting the outside? Sure, you can. You can just paint the outside, but when you open the door, it's going to look like butt in there. And for this here, I'm not removing all of these drawers and then having to put these drawers back in and reinstall all of this hardware. Now, if you're planning on putting new soft close stuff in there, what have you, then you can go ham on it. But I'm not doing all that. This is going to be a property that I want it to look, the final finish to look good, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, in a perfect world where I got a lot of money, I would have just dumped all these cabinets and hired a cabinet installer to come in and put brand new cabinets in. And that would have been way easier than me having to do it myself. But I'm trying to save money, and I'm trying to help you save money. And anybody else is trying to save money, this is what I found out. So if you can take my advice, take it or leave it, whatever. And I'm going to show you, I've removed all the slabs off of here. There's just 4 screws holding it in. And what I did is I rolled all this stuff. If you want the best finish possible, then you want to use a paint sprayer. The reason why you want to use a paint sprayer is if you got, I would recommend you use a paint sprayer. I found out when rolling these doors that the paint tends to gum up right in this little ridge here when you're rolling it. Right, so you take your brush and put your paint on there, and then take your roller and roll over it to give it a nice finish. Right. Well, I found that it gums up right in here. If you're using a paint sprayer, that's not going to be a problem. You're just going to get the best finish if you spray it. But in a situation like this, you're talking about a lot of prep work. You got to go in there, you got to remove all these things here out, you got to remove these out, you got to mask off all of this on the inside here, because unless you're going to paint the whole inside of the cabinet. Now, you could I would recommend, it'd be easier to paint the whole inside of the cabinet if you're doing that. But then that means you got to clean all of this on the inside and lightly sand it, whatever. You don't have to prime it, because nobody really cares about the inside of the cabinet that much. But man, masking all that off, that'll be a real pain in the butt. So I decided to go with the rolling option. I don't have to get a paint sprayer or rent a paint sprayer. And I don't have to mask any of this stuff off. You can see I put some masking tape right here so I could roll this without it getting on that. And I put masking tape here. That way I didn't have to remove them drawers. That way I could just bring the roller up like here, right? And then I could just pull the masking tape off. I mean, that's the easiest. I mean, you do what you want to do, but this is what I found was the easiest way to do it after thinking about it from a very objective standpoint. I'm going to show you how. You don't need me to teach you how to use a roller, but I will say this: you apply the paint, right? Enough paint on there, and then when you come back, the key to a good paint job is to back roll it. What do I mean by back roll? Means you roll over the surface lightly, like with a light touch, like this here, right? You don't want to push down on it. Just barely touch it and just collect the paint and evenly spread the paint out with very light pressure. Very light pressure. Just enough to keep the roller flush on it. And that's what gives you your final texture, right? When you're pushing down on it, you're applying paint and you're spreading paint. But when you do a light grade, you're also spreading it, but you're giving a light coat and you're giving it whatever that finish is that the roller is going to apply. If you use like a fuzzy roller, like a 3/4 inch snap, it's going to leave a rough looking texture on there, right? But if you use like a foam roller, I found that these give the smoothest texture, especially for doors. Mise en place, what do we have? We had 80 grit sandpaper we used. We used 220 grit. After this dries, so this product says that you can dry, that it'll dry after about 3 or 4 hours. You can recoat it. What does it say on here? 30 minute dries to touch, 1 hour ready to top coat. However, it does say down here, on stain surfaces, top coat in 4 hours. For heavy stains, top coat in 16 hours. So I waited, I noticed it was still tacky after 4 hours, like when I was touching the stuff, the doors and stuff up there, it was tacky. So I waited a full 16 hours, and now it's dry. And I went through here. After it's dried, I came in today, and you want to take a 220 grit and just lightly sand over all the main surfaces. Like this here, this is going to have some of the stuff you can just not worry about, okay? So this stuff here, like, this ain't got to be perfect. There's going to be a microwave in here, all right? Nobody's going to see this. Nobody's going to see that. Nobody's going to see the inside of here, except when you pull the oven out once every couple of years or whatever to clean back there. I mean, somebody will see it, so I went ahead and primed it all, but it ain't got to be perfect back in here. And we're getting a backsplash. None of this has to be perfect here. What does have to be a quality finish is going to be this facing here, this inside piece here. This front side of this drawer. Back side, not so much. The front side has got to be nice. And I'm going to paint both sides because when you pull the door out, when you pull the drawer out, you'll be able to see the back of it. And you got to paint both sides of it. You got to paint both sides of the door too, because when you open the door, you're going to see both sides of the door. So you can see we primed the back and the front of it. Now, if you're painting these doors, it might be a good idea to take and run you a bead of caulk around the inside of this panel, right? This is what I call a 5-piece door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the center panel. If you're just staining it and whatever with polyurethane, you don't have to caulk that or anything, or put wood filler in it. But if you're painting it, you might want to go ahead and put you a bead of caulk around this thing here, right on the inside, and smooth it down. That way you don't see, if you can see those little cracks. You see those little bubbles and stuff in there? Now, after I put 2 coats of paint on it, maybe that'll go away. But in the prep stage, you might want to put you a bead of caulk on the inside of the front of this panel. Don't worry about the back. Nobody cares about the back. Just give the back of it a nice coat of paint on it, and that's going to be that. People aren't going to see that whenever they open the door, right? So, and if you're selling the house, I mean, how much of an inspection is somebody going to give you on walking through? You know, they're going to look at the front of it. Does it look good from outside? That's what they're looking at. Let's see, door slab the same way. What I'm going to do, since painting is one of those things that, you know, everybody should have some idea how to do that. My only key takeaway that I want you to take away from this is that you need to back roll it with light pressure, like this here. And that gives you your final finish, right? We're going to put 2 coats. We did 1 coat of this primer, and we're going to let it sit for 16 hours, like the longest recommendation. And then we're going to put this on there. This is what the lady at Sherwin recommended. I used Pro Classic before, but she recommended Emerald urethane trim enamel. She said it dried really hard, so we're going to give it a go. And my fiance picked out sea salt for the color, which is I don't know if you can see this, but that's this lighter green color, right? The reason why she picked out that light green color is because this is the tile. I had this tile left over from another project, and what we're going to do, we're going to brick lay. We're going to brick lay the regular white tile like this, and then there's going to be a stripe. There's going to be down the middle of it. Well, it's going to be like this, right? There's going to be one here, and then there's going to be one there, and then there's going to be this a vertical layer that these go across, and these are going to be brick laid like that, and then this one's going to be vertical. So she based the color of the cabinet. She based the color of the cabinet off of some selections she had there. So we're going to match the tile, and then the grout is going to be kind of a lime color. It's kind of a light green color like that matches this inside piece here. So it should all come together. we'll see. The backsplash is going to be in another video, a future video. We're going to take these countertops off and put the backsplash in, and that's going to be, we're going to do the countertops are going to be a video, and then the backsplash is going to be the final video for this kitchen. And honestly, it'll probably be the final video for this house. Let's see, demolition, remove the doors, prep, sand to 80 grit. Oh yeah, you got to wipe the doors. You got to wipe this off after you sand it. You got to wipe everything down with a watery sponge. Let it dry. Prime it. We're using a foam roller. One side, in order to, you can't paint both doors at the same time, so we're painting one side of the doors, letting it dry, and then flipping it over, painting the other side. Right, so we'll show you how to do that. I'm going to do a one coat of primer. So painting, we're using the emerald urethane trim enamel. We're using the foam roller, and sand it lightly with a 220 grit. Right. Also, some things that I found out, some errors that I found out whenever I was doing this, is that, where is that? Oh yeah, so I was trying to hit this with a roller here, and this old laminate countertop here, the one over there in front of the sink had gotten moist in here, and it had a lot of dusty crap or whatever was on it. So when I went across it with a roller, just a lot like a dust come flying out and got all in the paint and everything. So you might, if the countertops are still on, you might want to tape the bottom of that just to keep it getting crud in your paint roller when you try to paint this top section here. That's mostly it. So I'm going to show you how to start painting just the basics of the painting. Right. I'm going to paint a little bit of this, and then we're going to paint this. Alright, I just had this paint made so I don't have to mix it. And also this Lazy Susan, I left all of that in there. I mean, if you want to go crazy and pull all that stuff out, and then just so you can paint that, I mean, you can go for it, man. But that, I'm not doing all that. So I was leaving that in there. A lot of times I would just take this little section here, but I was able to roll this and then just wipe up what little bit got on there. But I'm going to leave all that stuff in there. They sell like these rollers here. It says ultra smooth finish, and I got some just in case my foam roller was bad. But this one has this one's like a cottony kind of looking thing if you look at it there. But I might end up, if that foam one works out, I might end up taking this back, get my money back out of it. I got it just in case, and the showrooms I went to didn't have these foam rollers for this frame. So otherwise I would have got me 2 more of these here. Alright, I have a high quality, get you a high quality brush, always get you a high quality brush, never skimp on your brush. Don't buy them brushes that are $1. That's exactly what you'll get in a brush that's worth $1. So you need to use this to spread it in corners and stuff first, and then you go over it lightly with a roller. So we're going to do some of the painting. I mean, some people might leave that part out, but there might be something you glean from this. I don't want to leave it out. It's such a big part of their other project. And the actual painting, and it really affects how the final finish looks. All right, let me get this primer out here. We're getting a butcher block countertop on there. All right. Let's see here. Work over here. I left all the countertops and the sink in because quite obviously I'm using a bunch of it. Ooh, that looks beautiful. That is beautiful. But then again, I think everything is beautiful these days. Just love the color. I don't know what happened with a paint color I don't like lately. This was the same bucket I used the primer in, and yeah, I know it looks white. It's white. It's not a brand new line. I didn't have any. Should have grabbed a new liner. I didn't have. They didn't. I thought I had some, but I got here and I didn't have any. That was one side. I shouldn't have put it on. Alright, let's close this back up. I'm taking a risk reusing that foam roller. Actually, I think I'm going to use do the back of these doors first with it. Before I start putting it on that the main thing, because it's just a little damp. I don't really. With these rollers, if you've rinsed them out and you're trying to reuse them, you need to you have to blot them with like a dry towel. Before you use them, unless you let them sit up and get completely dry. But if it's like the next day, like you used it yesterday and you want to change the color, so you rinsed it out and you let it sit overnight and it's still damp the next morning, that water will get into your paint. That's a big problem with oil-based paint, but this urethane is water-based, so it should be fine. But you can see there's still water coming out of it. I've dampened it one time already today, and there's still moisture coming out of it. Let's see how it works out now. Let's see if this lady's recommendation is wants correct up to be. Oops. Alright. Wow, that is a really light green color. I already sanded these blocks with a 220 grit. Alright, you spread it out evenly here. Spread it out evenly. Now, if you're not hanging these doors up to paint them, like spray them or whatever, you're going to have to paint one side then the other. You obviously can't paint both sides at the same time. And if they were hanging up somehow, it'd be great. You'd be able to paint both sides at one time, but that's not what we're going here. Oh yeah. I'm going to go over it a couple times and make sure I don't see any white on there. That's beautiful. Now, here's the tricky part. So since I have like a radius here, right? I'm gonna paint the top section here, right? Flip it over, turn it on. All right, there we go. I'll paint this edge, so that way when we sit it down, when we sit it down, this part here ain't got any paint on it. It won't stick to anything. Plus, when you roll the top of this, there's a good chance you'll get like some paint overrun here on the side, so you have to do this anyway. All right. Oh, it looks beautiful. Beautiful color. All right, now we're going to back roll it, right? So we just go over it lightly like this here. That gives us our finish there. You want to overlap it too. You want to overlap it. Yeah. Something on it there. You see that pitting there, or is paint down in there? But it's on the back of it. I don't really care. Alright, we're going to make sure you give it an inspection. There's no overruns or anything here. All right, now you can set that down and continue on. Oops. Oh, shit. Let me hit the back there. It's always nice to have you a nice, have you a little rag or something, a wet rag or something, just for getting up any mistakes real quick. And with those primers, you want to get those up fast, because it will dry fast too. Alright, there we go. And obviously, we're going to show you how to paint the front of this door. Paint the front of the door. Painted the back one, and I'll show you how to paint the front of this one. Just roll it on there, get a nice coat. Get a look at it to make sure there's no white showing through. And with this one, we're just going to roll this top radius, and we're not going to put any paint there. Maybe just lightly to make sure we don't have. Oh, look at that! It's a beautiful line. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to put 2 coats on the front and 1 coat on the back. The back of it, I'm not going to put 2 coats on the whole thing. And you can have at it if you want to do that, but this is mainly for people who like to save money and save time. And time is money. So I want to run this edge lightly at an angle, like this here, because I don't want to get it. If I get paint here and I set it down, it's going to stick. It's going to make a mess. So don't do that. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that. Alright, let's do a door. I'm going to do the front of a door and then the back of the door. I got a small, these are the 2 doors that come off right here above the oven doors, fume hood doors. So that's what I'm talking about. You got to get into these cracks here first. So you got to take your brush and get a lot generous with your paint there. Be generous with the paint because you got to get it in these cracks. Turn it this way to get down in that long crack. This is why I like shaker doors. I don't like this colonial crap. Colonial doors and trim are just a nightmare to have to paint. The more fanciness it looks on that you get inside the door, the worse they are is when it comes to painting them and refinish them and what have you. Alright, now I'm going to go over it lightly and spread the paint out. I'm going to make sure I get down in the crevices and then spread it out like that. Alright, oops. I'm not too concerned about these countertops because we're getting brand new countertops. These are going to get trashed anyway. Alright, here, so we have a flat surface here and a radius here, so we're going to do the radius. Top radius. I think it's a cove. This is a cove cut here, edge form. That recess like that. It's convex. A concave one is like a round, what they call round over. This is a round over here. It's rounded over, and this is a cove where it's like cut into it. So we're going to do a cove here. Wow, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. I've already sanded these with a 220 grit, so I should show you how to do it. I'll do that on the next one. All right, I'm holding it at an angle like this here. So I don't want that. I don't want it to run down through here. And when we flip it over, we'll coat that when we paint the other side too. So it should have a nice coat of paint around the edge. And these doors here, we are not gonna. These doors are not gonna have any hardware on them. But we used these doors for 20 years and never missed hardware being on them. Trust me. It was never an issue that it didn't have hardware on it, because the way some doors, the way they're designed, you can just reach there and open them. And it was the same with the drawers. They were easy to open from the side, and these are easy to open from the side. You didn't even need hardware with them. Wow, this is way better than that primer. That primer gummed up on me. This is quality paint here. That the primer got down in there. It didn't spread very well either. This one spreads with gravity nicely. It just levels right out. It's immaculate, really. So when you're painting this panel, you want to paint in the direction of the grain. Okay? At least I do. You do what you want. I don't even know if that's the best. That's what I'm doing though. When you sand it with a grain, I assume you want to paint it with a grain too. Oh, you should sand in the direction of the grain. And these doors here are all, that center panel is an oak laminate. It actually has oak on the surface. And the outside pieces are all oak, and this whole front facing is actual oak. So these should look quite nice, and they already look beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? Look at how well that paint leveled there. I didn't even have to do anything really. Let me make sure I got it. Now I'm gonna back roll it. I'm gonna back roll it lightly. Wow. Now I'm gonna check it for runs. Paint runs. There's a little one here. All right, there we go. Back of that one, we painted the front of this one. Did I back roll this one? Y'all remember if I back rolled this one? Let me make sure I back rolled it. I see white spots on there where I didn't get it. Put paint on it. And in that little cove. Yeah. I need to check them all again. Well, I'll put 2 coats on it. Anyway. Wow, I need to check. You really need a good light. You need a good light to look at it. I'm finding out. Let me get a good look at it. Alright, let's look it up. Since I'm wanting that one up. Oh, I can see it now. This is so light compared to that white. I can see it right in that cove there where I didn't get paint in it. Let's concentrate there. Yeah, there we go. You got to look at this under the light. That cove is the problem. And it's hard to get the paint down in it perfectly. Oh yeah, I'm seeing white spots in it now. Well, that's why you do 2 coats. Definitely have to do 2 coats for sure. Oops. Shit. This is not where I'm storing the doors. Most of the doors are upstairs. Kind of prepped correct surface. Alright, this one's got to be sanded a little bit. So we give it a light sanding, so we look for any debris or stuff that's stuck in the paint, insects, sand, paint chips. The back I don't really give a crap about unless there's something major like that there. Not something stuck in the paint there. You go scraper, get the big thing off, and do a light sanding. Alright, so we did let's do the back one of this one. Take your brush, get in them crevices good there. The back one ain't got to be that great. Just get a coat of paint on it. And I still, depending on how this one turns out, how these turn out, the first coat, I might end up putting compound caulk inside that front square there. I was kind of hoping the paint would fill it in. You know, after we did 2 or 3 coats of paint on it, that it would fill it in. But a lot of times with those little cracks, those things just shine through. Alright, that's got the paint on it there. Let's roll it a bit. I might take to get my money back out of those rollers, because this one here seems to be working just fine. Yeah. There we go. Get it, baby. Get it, baby. Yes. Beautiful. Alright. Oh God. So much paint. This color is so light that it's not easy to see the parts you didn't get. I love it though. I think it's going to be awesome. Alright, so let's make sure we roll it here. This roller here has foam on the outside edge too, so it kind of helps when you can get close to that edge there. And on the inside of that panel, go around each corner like this. And then there'll be a little thing of something on the top there, then you just back roll that nicely. Like that. Nice back roll. Nice back roll. That's a nice back roll there. Oh, it's beautiful. I can that primer's still a little sticky. See? There's paint here. I got some paint down in that holder. I'm gonna get that out now. So let's go ahead and, now this one has the cove, so we're gonna paint this part here. You need to do that anyway to get rid of the paint rolls. So these edges will probably get like 4 coats of paint, which is good because that's where people are going to be grabbing it at. And over time it'll give you a nice durable finish. The more coats of paint you can put on it. Just don't think you're going to sand it off anytime soon. You might have a bad day. I'm putting it, see I'm holding it at an angle like this, that way I don't get any on that bottom edge, that way I can lay it down flat. If you get paint on that and you lay it down flat, it is going to make a mess. And when you go to get it off of there, when you go to pick it up off of there, it's going to pop off. And you're going to have to fix it. And it's going to suck. Look at that. Nice, huh? When you look at it on the light, there's a little paint roll there. And a little something there too. Oh no, that's from the primer. I didn't do a good job sanding it. I should have inspected it before I painted it. Inspected it better. And so now I'm going to take, and I don't want this paint in this cup here. Because I'm going to have to put that cup in there, and if that paint's there, it's going to be hard to put it in there. Let me get that paint out of that cup. big gobs anyway, otherwise you'll have to get it out after the fact. Alright, let's see. Anytime you got, so I need to back roll this, but I'll set it down in the paint and now it's full of paint, but you can always take and distribute that somewhere else to get it to spread, because it's all got to be painted anyway, so you can just spread it out on these flat surfaces. Like, you don't want to have a whole lot of paint on your roller. It doesn't mean you're dripping off when you start doing this, these parts here, because they're thin and you'll get a lot of paint runs in there. So you want it to look like that, like we loaded with paint but not dripping with paint. It's best to roll, and you can take and roll these big areas like this, and that gives you a nice roller to start working with. So I'm going to back roll this. Even after letting this primer stick for 6 hours, I still feel, whenever I lift it up off the stuff, I can still feel that it's a little tacky. But I like that primer. It even did a great job on this. I mean, if you scratch it hard, it'll bring some of this off of this paper. But like this, just like it's not coming off of this wood. It's been sanded. It's stuck to it good. All right, and I'm gonna do a side of the cabinet, and then we're gonna call this video a wrap. See, it can come off. I just scratched it and it come right off on that paper. It's not sticking to that paper very well. Now, for this one here, we're gonna get in here with a brush first. Get this edge with a brush. Get this here with a brush. This one here, I'm going to just get some paint on there. Alright, all right. I'm going to roll this edge here. Roll the edge. Oh. You got to take a brush and dab this corner too. You got to dab that corner on both sides because the roller's not going to get in there. Dab that roller. I mean, honestly, this ain't got to be perfect there, because this is getting, there's going to be a microwave here. But this is for educational purposes. So you roll, hit that corner and roll it this way, and roll it that way. Alright, let's get enough paint in this corner and call it done. I'm going to do this inside bit here. I mean, you can't see this, but trust me, it's being done. I debated whether they even show this, to be honest, because a lot of people know how to paint. But there might be something to learn from it, and it's a huge part of the job. So, honestly, this might be the most important part of the job. Oh, refinishing kitchen cabinets. Alright. So once again, I need to do some detail work, and I have a ton of paint on my brush. Wow, I love this paint. That is some high quality paint there. It goes on like a dream. Watch for paint runs when you're doing this. Alright. Roll it here. Make sure we got a good back roll on it there. Good back roll. So important for a good finish. Alright, now let's do the facing. With a light paint like this, you just got to make sure you can't see any white there. If you're just doing one coat, then you want to make sure you don't see any white on it. But I always recommend 2 coats of paint. I mean, I don't care what any manufacturer says, you just can't get 1 coat of paint unless you put it on there so thick that nobody can. It costs an arm and a leg to put it on that thick. 2 light coats of paint is what you need. Alright, there we go. It is coming along now. The trick with oak is oak has a grain to it, so you got to make sure you get that paint in that grain properly. Now here we're going to do. All right, we've done that. You got an idea about what that looks like. All right, let's see. Let's do inside one of these door facings, and this corner here. And we'll do this crown molding. Let's do this crown in this corner, and then we're going to finish this video up. Oop, got it. All right. Okay. All right, get your paint in there good, like that, and then crevices. Roller's not going to be able to get all them in them tight spots. Get that corner, get that edge there. And the crown, you're basically going to have to use the brush on the crown, and then do a back roll on it. Okay, let's see. So we're going to do. Make sure we get this in here. Yeah. Let's see what we can get with the roller now. Let's get the inside, and now let's do our 4 corners on the inside. Yeah. All right, now let's use the roller as much as we can. Oh yes, beautiful, beautiful, my friend. If there's any small gaps in where the cabinets come together, you can kind of just jam some paint in there. Cover up some of that. You can still see where the cabinet came together. And then roll that like that. Rolling, rolling, rolling. And rolling, rolling, rawhide. And then this. Try to back roll this crown a little bit. Oops. Beautiful. And back roll. We also left all of our, we didn't patch any of the holes here where the hardware goes in, because we got to put it right back in there. So that marks your spots. Don't patch the holes where your hardware came out. Now, I'm going to come along and give it a final back roll here. Let me get this part here. All right, now I'm going to give it a final back roll. Light pressure. This is some high quality paint here, let me tell you. It is just leaving the most gorgeous finish on there. If it's tough and it looks good, I might do one coat. This might be the first time I ever got away doing one coat. Alright, let me see if I can back roll in this crown. It's not easy. You got to kind of push it hard too. And get that foam down in there. Wow, nice.